Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Words of Heart. In today's episode, we have the privilege of speaking with author Epiphany Jordan. Thank you for joining me today, Epiphany.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Dion. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
Awesome. So, Epiphany, if you could tell my audience a bit about yourself and how you came about writing your book. I believe it's called Somebody to Hold Me. I believe that's the specific title, correct?
It's Somebody Hold Me, the Single Person's Guide to Nurturing Human Touch is the full title, which is a mouthful, right? But it's a big topic. So as you've already introduced me, my name's Epiphany Jordan. I live in Austin, Texas, and I am on a mission to redesign human touch. Just kind of the nutshell of it is that our current culture, we equate touch with sex, and this is a model that's not working really well for most people. It doesn't work well for single people, and it actually doesn't work well for a lot of people who are in relationships as well. And I would like us to start thinking about touch as something that's important for health and wellness. It's got tons of physical health benefits. And, to start thinking about it that way is that it's something that's important for our survival. I mean, we already know how important it is for survival for babies, and not even necessarily just survival, but to thrive, but we don't really think about it that way for adults. So, the book came about I for since 2013, from 2013 to 2020, I had a hands-on non-sexual touch business called Karuna Sessions here in Austin, and it was an amazing, amazing service that we gave, but it was also priced as a luxury. It was expensive. And I was like, well, a lot of people can't afford this. And around the time I started writing the book, I split up. I got out of a long-term romantic relationship that had been very touch centric, and there we had a lot of physical contact, and I knew from both my hands-on work and for the research I had done that if I wasn't dating anybody, that I was kind of out of luck. I might like be able to hug my friends hello or goodbye when I saw them, but that's not a lot of touch. That's a little bit different than sleeping in the same bed as a person, or even like laying next to a person for a really long period of time, and getting to that place where your body can get into a really deep space of relaxation, and just to let go, and that feeling of being cared for. And so I created the book to give people a resource to be able to share touch with their friends in a structured fashion, because while a lot of us do have friends where we hug them hello and goodbye, it doesn't usually go beyond that. And so, a lot of us are out and trying to date, and, that can sometimes it's great and sometimes it's horrible. But, most of us already have a group of people that we love and we trust, and that we feel close to and connected to, and yet we don't share touch with them because we're afraid that it's going to be misconstrued as something sexual, because all of us think about touch that way, right? And so I kind of created a structure so that people could do that and turn it from a sexual activity into a social activity.
Interesting. So do you feel with what your book represents human touch and how to use it in a safe and comforting manner that's not overstepping any boundaries, do you feel that plays a significant role considering what's going on with the pandemic right now?
Yes, I mean, I don't know about you, but I have friends who are all over the board. It's like it's been interesting listening to people talk about things opening back up again, and it's like a lot of people are, it's like we've been isolated for a year, and it's like we basically don't know how to human anymore. It's like and I have a lot of friends who are just like, oh my God, I just want to hug everybody, and then I have other friends who are like, I can't deal with this, don't touch me. And so I'm really hoping that, this is a good time for what I've been talking about for the past 3 years, because I think a lot of the ways that we had done things before the pandemic weren't working for people. And so I feel like this is a good opportunity to go, okay, yeah, let's maybe try something different here. And to give people some ideas, because I mean, I also hear people who are like, yeah, I want to have more affection or, touch in my life, but I have no idea how to go about it or how to get it. It's like if I start asking my friends, they're going to be like, weirdo, get away from me. So, it helps to have a structure and kind of a guide that you can follow along with. And I think it's going to be really important for people as we come out of this, because not everybody is ready to go back out and start hugging everybody else again.
Right. And obviously I got your book a couple of days ago, but um
No
I
problem.
um I definitely can understand the need for understanding human touch, especially right now. At the start of the pandemic, just to give you a little insight, my sister was really strict as to the whole protocols of 6 feet, and she didn't even allow anyone to enter her household because my niece
Yeah.
and her two stepchildren, her husband, um, she wants to protect her family, which I completely understand and respect. But even if we were to visit her, we would have to, stay outside and have a mask. And I could even hug my niece, and
Oh, that's so hard. I
she's,
know.
it
I
was,
missed hugging my niece as well.
it was so difficult.
Yeah.
Because I've always hug her every single time I see her. And it was I was babysitting someone and I was watching this like Disney sing along on Disney Plus, and the song that they were singing was a Frozen song, and I immediately started crying because
Oh,
that's like her favorite song in the whole world.
that's so sad.
It's like her favorite song in the whole world, and I just broke down crying. I couldn't stop
Yeah.
crying because I miss being able to actually hug her and touch her, and I just
Yeah.
lost it. I think I was like emotional for like a good 2 days after that, but it was
Yeah.
really difficult.
Yeah,
The
it's
first
been
2 weeks. Luckily that's no longer the case, and I can hug her and see
what
her
was
do
what
all the normal stuff I would do, but my sister is obviously still being careful and everything.
yeah. What was the first hug like? Tell me about that. I just
It's funny the first hug because actually um she started allowing us to be inside and hang out, and I was playing with my niece and I had my mask on, and my dad was there to pick me up, so technically the first hug was a hug I snuck in.
you're like, don't tell your mom that we're doing this, right?
No, well, my sister supports me, and she won't kill me. I mean, it's fine.
It's so hard though. I mean, yeah, people have had like such different boundaries around it. I mean, I actually I was talking to a friend of mine this morning, and one of our friends was traveling across the country and stopped at my friend's house for the night, and he had his car all set up to sleep in it, but she was like, he wouldn't even come in my house, because he's so, so people, some people are very cautious and anxious, and other people are like, I don't care. And I mean, it's been a really great education for people, I think, around the fact that, everybody has very individual boundaries, and that's a big part of, having touch that feels good, that feels nurturing, because it's like, if somebody, I don't know if you've ever had the experience of like hugging someone who doesn't want to be hugged, and it's like they stiffen up and they go like this, and it's like, it's not making them feel good. I mean, it might make you feel good, but, it's like, it's better when it's, somebody who's, two people are giving and receiving hugs and they both want it. They're both saying yes to it. So,
Exactly. And I
yeah.
respect boundaries. I completely respect it. The hug was 2 seconds and I had to do it. I had to do
I
it.
I get it. I'm going home this weekend and I'm so excited to see my 9-year-old niece. She's a little cuddle monster. But yeah, I mean my mother, her grandmother talked a lot about, like that. My mother's been a widow for about 13 years now, and my niece is the person that she gets most of her touch from. So, to be able to have to like I think they started hugging. I don't know when they started back in, but it was hard, that she didn't have access to that, and especially, as kids get to be teenagers and they're like, don't touch me. So, that was like, it's like most of a year that my mother can't have back. She's in her 80s and she wants to be able to be close to her granddaughter while her granddaughter will still let her. And yeah, so it's been really hard. And I mean, think about, like, did you have anybody in your family who died or that was really sick, or
I did not
COVID or otherwise? Yeah.
I did not have to go through any COVID losses. My heart goes out to those who obviously had to experience that to some extent, rather it be COVID related or just death in general.
Right, and not be able to, like, I
With the
mean, that's
closure.
human to be able, well, to be able to, like, hold each other when we cry, when we're grieving. I mean, that's the time that you want people to be physically close to you and touch you, to know that you matter and that you belong and that, people care about you. I mean, people having to go through that on their own without getting that sort of physical comfort. I mean, it's been crazy. I mean, I don't know how this is all going to unfold in the long term, but I think this year of going without touch is going to have some pretty serious repercussions for our culture, our society, our health, our mental health, our well-being. We're going to be untangling this one for a while.
Yes. Touch is such a pivotal part of our life, and I love hugging
Yeah.
people. I'm into hugs, and yet that's not possible because obviously we have to think of our health and the virus. And yay, there's vaccines, but not everyone has access to them quite yet. So
Yeah, I know that's been hard. So do you think when you get vaccinated and you can get back out in the world and be with your friends, are you going to be hesitant to hug them again, or are you going to just dive right in there, or
I
where are you at with that?
don't. I don't think I'm gonna be hesitant.
Good. I'm
People
glad to hear
know
that.
me, and I hug. I'm a hugger.
Nice.
That's part of who I am.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, me too. I actually, I've had a couple of friends who are like, "Oh, it's going to be 2 weeks past my second vaccine on Friday." I'm like, "Let's meet up and hug." Yeah, I mean, I'm down with, like, specifically doing that, or to be able to, like, go over to a friend's house and snuggle up on the couch and watch a movie, or so, all these things that I haven't been able to do for a year. So it's definitely been challenging for a lot of people, I think. And I think people probably didn't realize how important it was for their health and well-being. And, they've kind of gotten a crash course in it over the past year. So, yeah.
I think we've gotten a crash course on a lot of things, including touch and just accepting
Yeah.
people for who they are and just not
Respecting people's boundaries. Absolutely.
exactly because this pandemic is crazy and no one should have to
I know.
experience it alone in any.
Yeah. But a lot of people have.
And yeah, that's the unfortunate factor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I kind of, I think last May, the New York Times published an article saying, "Oh, it's probably safe to hug people if you're masked and your faces are facing opposite directions and you don't do it for too long." So, I've been hugging my friends outside. Like, I go for walks with people a lot. That's how I've mainly been socializing with people during the pandemic. And if people are like, "Yeah, I'll take a hug," then I give them a hug. We're wearing masks and we're outdoors, and felt pretty safe to me. So that, but it's still, I have other friends. I actually got to hug one of my friends a couple of weeks ago. She got COVID like in the very beginning, and she's been a long haul COVID survivor. She's been sick for a year, and she finally got completely vaccinated, and the vaccine's actually been helping her with the symptoms of it. But it was so amazing to be able to hug her after. um, I think I saw her once last summer. I took some herbs over to her house, and, we stood 20 feet apart from each other on the lawn wearing masks. She was just being super, super cautious. And she called me out, or we talked, and she's like, "Yeah, let's go have lunch." And I got to hug her, and it was so good.
Aw.
Yeah, yeah, I'm like I'm seeing more of those sorts of reunions. I'm really looking forward to it. But then yeah, again, there's going to be a lot of people who are just going to kind of hold back and be like, I don't know how I feel about this. And they're still going to be cautious, even if it's like, okay, you've been fully vaccinated and I've been fully vaccinated. But I think for a lot of people it's not that habit of I have to keep myself safe and other people are dangerous. I mean, it's not, I don't think it's going to go away so fast for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions you'd like to ask me since we're talking about this awesome concept of human touch?
So you said that you're a hugger. Do you have a partner that you get touch from on a regular basis? Do you have a romantic relationship where you get
I
touch or?
I do not have a romantic relationship. I
Uh-huh.
consider myself to be a romantic, but I do not have a romantic relationship. No.
And so all your friends know you as a hugger, and you give really great hugs. And I mean, do you like after you hug people, do you still like hold their hands or sit close to them, or do you go in for more touch or?
I usually hug them probably like maybe 2 or 3 times, and then we
Nice.
continue talking from there. I don't hold their hand. I chuckle, I laugh, we conversate. That's pretty much as far as the whole friendship realm goes, as far as
Hmm.
that.
And do you feel like that's enough touch for you? Do you feel like you're missing out? Is it satisfying, or do you want more of it in your life, or?
I think it's satisfying. Um, from the romantic perspective, I could use a bit more of it. Um, but that's a different story altogether.
So you really equate touch with sex as well. Of course, all of us do to some extent.
Yeah, to some extent, yes. I believe touch is considered one of the five love languages, I want to say.
It is. It definitely is. It
So
definitely is.
I think that's definitely part of my love language, along with words of affirmation. So
Hmm. So if I were to hug you and say, Dion, you're an amazing person, like you would just be like, oh yeah, that's it. I'm done. I can go home now. Because you get two for one, right?
yes, that would make my day, absolutely.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, so I'm kind of curious. So this is something that I've been thinking about a lot, especially during the pandemic. I think that, because a lot of us haven't been getting as much touch as we want or need for a long time. And so, because our society like has made touch like acceptable in fewer and fewer situations, right? Between making it's harder to date, and then there's Me Too, and all these different things. There's a lot of fear around touch, right? And there's a lot of unwanted touch. And I think a lot of people have really become more dependent on what I call transactional touch, which is getting a pedicure, getting your hair cut, and having them shampoo your hair, when you go and you get a massage or something, where it's touch that is nurturing. Sometimes it's not. I mean, like that thing where
Yeah.
they like scrape the bottom of your feet when you're getting a pedicure. That feels horrible. I mean, it looks great afterwards and it feels really good afterwards, but man, when you're done, it's like, ah, right. But so Do you feel like, since you're single, that you've kind of relied on that kind of touch as well for the past, well, obviously not during the pandemic, but in the past when you're single, do you get more of that sort of touch on a regular basis to kind of compensate?
Well, obviously, transactional touch involves money, which I don't exactly have.
Right, right,
But
right.
I do value getting my feet massaged and a manicure, pedicure. I love washing my hair on a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
That's really soothing to me, especially when I have like music blaring and it's just a party in my
Nice.
bathroom. Um,
Have you ever considered like doing that stuff with your friends? Like, hey, you want to come over and we'll give each other pedicures or wash each other's hair or
I never suggested that before. Perhaps I should. I never thought to suggest it.
yeah, I mean, most of us wouldn't because we're used to paying for it. I mean, 100 years ago, we would have done that for each other all the time. It's like, I mean, like, I don't know if your mom braided your hair, combed your hair, and brushed your hair out a lot when you were a kid, or, but we grow out of that, right?
All right.
So I don't know. Yeah, that one I think is something that for a lot of people, that maybe feels more comfortable than, cuddling on the couch and watching a movie or what have you. It's like it's more familiar, but it's really fun. Every time I've had little parties like that with friends, they're just like, "Oh, this is so nice and I love this and God, can we do this every weekend?" And because it feels good. I mean, it's like if uh, primates spend 10 to 20% of their time doing social grooming. They're always like, touching and petting each other and, picking insects out of their fur and all that kind of stuff. But they found that one of the reasons that they do it is to foster sharing and cooperation. So, it's something that makes us feel more connected and closer to people and more generous with them. And yeah, it's super helpful.
All
So,
right. And I
yeah.
think maybe this is my poetic brain speaking because I'm really creative. I guess in a way to sort of satisfy that touch hunger as you quoted in your book, might I
Uh,
add. Um I I guess I use my words as to satisfy that particular touch concept. Or
so
how
you write about it or
yeah. I write poems, which is basically how I help with my emotions and or thoughts, whether it be touch or affection or desire or any other words you can think
uh
of. So I
if
guess
you've
my words are my own eternal touch, if that makes sense.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Actually, if you've written a poem about touch, can you send it to me? I would love to read that. That sounds amazing.
Sure. My poems do involve touch to some extent, so I'll be happy to share that with you at some
Yeah, yeah, that would be great. I mean, if you have one in particular that, or I don't know, maybe you're going to be inspired by our conversation to write one, huh? It
point.
happens
It does happen. I do write poems in the most unusualist of ways. It's real funny.
when you get inspired, huh? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like when the muse comes to visit you.
Absolutely. So I do have that icebreaker question
All
for you.
right, I'm ready.
It's a real fun question that many of my guests enjoy.
Okay.
If you could have any superpower that's not flying, because I know many people miss flying, but I have to take that option away. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I mean, I actually say that one of my superpowers is hugging, but actually if I had to choose, because that's a superpower that I already have, I would actually probably choose surfing. I
Surfing.
yeah, I've been obsessed with it for years, and about 10 years ago, I decided, okay, I'm gonna like go and take a trip and learn how to surf. And I was so mad. It's hard. It's really hard. And I was like, God, I wish I had started on this 20 years ago, because even, yeah, I mean, even if you're like up on the board and up on a wave for like 2 seconds, it's so amazing. It feels so good. It feels so good. And, it's a really, I mean, I don't know. Did you see those pictures from earlier this year of like people surfing like this 100-foot tall wave? I mean, it was incredible. I was just like, oh my God, I want to be like that with the ocean. I mean, I love to swim in the ocean and body surf, and yeah, to be able to surf it, that's probably the superpower I would pick.
I love that superpower. That power is actually on my bucket list to actually be able to surf.
I know, mine
But I'm
too. Yeah.
also not hand-eye coordinated at all, so it would take a lot of balance and feng shui or tranquility to actually be able to stand on the board.
You know what might be good practice for that actually is those stand-up paddle boards. Have you ever seen those that like people take out on the river and creeks and lakes and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, that might actually kind of give you a good feel for what it's like. It's not exactly like surfing, but it's similar. Um, and also snowboarding is kind of similar. And there's these cool little like personal transportation things called a one wheel. Actually, skateboarding as well. It's like all kind of that thing of like balancing on a small board, but the one wheel is like it's like this board, and then it's got like a big wheel through the middle, and it's electronic, and you balance on it, and you can cruise around on it. So that might be something worth trying. It seems like there's things that you can do to kind of um, help yourself to so that when you did get on the board, you wouldn't be starting from scratch. So
Okay, and it's funny because there's this surfer movie called Johnny Tsunami, and whenever it would come on, I had this like toy plastic little like chair or red chair, and I would like flip it, and then I would stand on it.
and pretend you were surfing?
Yeah.
That's so awesome. I want to do that now. I mean,
Of course, that
I,
was when I was a little kid, and it's a lot sillier if
y-
I were to do it as an adult. But obviously, there's actual physical boards that are more suitable than a plastic little play toddler chair.
I mean, you'd probably break, actually, you might even, like, if I probably tried to do that with like one of my dining room chairs, I'd probably break it. So, yeah, okay. Now I want to go, go out and have like an afternoon on a paddleboard on one of those stand-up paddle boards. I think I'm gonna try and make a date with one of my friends to do that, and maybe we'll hug and cuddle after it. So yeah,
Awesome. Well, I don't have any more icebreaker questions. Did you have any final thoughts to share with my audience? Any social plugins you want to share before we wrap up here? And you can go
sure.
hug the paddleboard or your friend.
I probably won't get to do that today, unfortunately. But yeah, if you want to find me online, my website is www.nurturinghumantouch.com, and the book, which is Somebody Hold Me, A Single Person's Guide to Nurturing Human Touch. You can find that. There's a digital, like an ebook, there's a paper book, and there's also an audiobook version of it that you can find on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and what I think it's Waterstone up in Canada. I mean, it's most places you can find it in Australia and England and all that good jazz. And yeah, I just actually a final thought is, be for people to be gentle with themselves, because it's like I think this whole reentry into, the world of being around humans is probably not going to be as easy as we'd like it to be for a lot of us. So be really, really gentle and forgiving with yourself and others. Um, and, don't assume that everybody that you see is ready to share a hug again, be sure to ask and get their consent before you dive in for it. And it'll make it feel that much better because then they want a hug. It's a win-win. So, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for joining me today, Epiphany. This was a wonderful conversation, and
You're
I'm
so welcome,
sure it's
Dion. Thank
gonna
you for inviting me.
hug someone's heart in some type of way. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Thank you again.
awesome. To all my listeners, stay healthy, stay safe. Feel free to hug someone if you want to hug them, as long as it's okay with them. And until next time, bye.
Bye. Thank you.